Hey, shalom, shalom, y'all. This is your brother Sahar. And man, it is November the 27th, man. Tomorrow being Thanksgiving, I had to put together something for the people to be able to um bring some truth to the light, shed some light on Thanksgiving. So that's what we're gonna cover in this video. We're gonna dive into Thanksgiving, man. We're gonna dive into both sides of the stories, into the witnesses. We're gonna dive into the truth. We're gonna examine the matter, and we're gonna weigh it on the scales, man. Salakia, my voice is a little off, man. It's also that time of the year, so praying for brothers that's under the weather too, going through these changes that's in the year. But hey, the work got to continue. Gotta put out these edifying videos. Got to keep doing the Lord's work, man. And my prayer is that in my earnest efforts in making this video, going into some of these articles, that Lord willing, somebody watches the video and repents and doesn't go down to the Thanksgiving gathering that their family has been that their family has been hyping up. That they say, no, we can't do it. This is not of the Lord. So I do want to give our praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua for even through sickness or whatever, giving me the motivation and the energy to make this video, to bring it out for the people and to shed some light on the situation, man. Just last year, Salaki. Just last year, man, I was enticed to go to Thanksgiving to see some family that I haven't seen in a long time. And the Most High ended up turning into a shit show, man. Demons were brought out because the Bible was coming out. Man, the Most High, he definitely he's intentional, because I was just doing it. My intentions were to see some family that I haven't seen in a long time, not knowing whenever I'm gonna see them again. But hey, man, the Most High, that's beyond him, man. I didn't eat Thanksgiving food with the family. Me and my family actually went and got some food at Waffle House, which was, it's not that many spots open during those times, but we didn't sit down and eat dinner with my family. I just came in there to see the folks. And the Most High ended up turning into a disaster. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that I will be doing again, just for the simple fact that while I was down there, Lions of Israel had dropped a mighty lesson about Thanksgiving. Priest Daniela, a magnificent job. And I knew it was not of the Lord, but his efforts and him putting together the information just shed more light on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was crazy, man, through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. So yeah, man, let's get into it, man. We're rebuking Thanksgiving. It is not of the Lord, man. We're gonna dive into it. We're gonna see what it is. We're gonna search out the matter like we do all things according to the scripture, according to the knowledge that the Most High gave us, man. So let's get into it, man. Now give me 1 second. I get things set up. All right. Hey, shout out to the men and the women of the Lord too, man, that's put in their brick, and those that are standing on their 10 and not going to the Thanksgiving celebration, festivities, the gathering, no matter how bad their families entice them, no matter how bad Satan jumps on them to want to be sentimental and want to be compassionate about this day, man. It's not of the Lord. Hey man, Thanksgiving, just another pagan festival. The deception continues, man. Thanksgiving, just like all other celebrations in this society, have ancient origins. That's your Christmas, your Easter, your Halloween, your All Saints Day, your Thanksgivings, man. All of these days have pagan roots. The heathen celebrated these things, and they got these days through whatever their ideology, whatever their religion, their discipline. It came from about that, and that's how it went down. But in today's time, we have what's called a rebranding. From things that are celebrated for thousands of years, Salakia, we have what's called a rebranding. Turn on my mic, so I'm going to talk so loud. So, rebranding, as you see on the screen, is when a company wants to go in maybe in a new direction, whether it's a logo, whether it's how they want to, who they're catering their business to, some kind of systemic change, not a change entirely of who they are, but just a rebranding of, hey, we've evolved. This is our evolution into the same company into new things, right? Still keeping those same roots, right? You know what I'm saying? Still keeping those same roots. Like, for example, you have Pepsi. Pepsi started off as a company that had certain ingredients, certain flavor. Their goal was to quench the thirst of the consumer or whatever it may be. Their logo looked like this. You know what I'm saying? Okay, now 40 years later, 50 years, 60 years later, however long, now you have the logo looks like this. The recipe or the formula to their soda changed, but their target is the same. And it's the same thing with all these sick holy days, these holidays. I mean, these sick holidays, Salakia, that these people want to claim as holy. They want to claim as cater to the Lord, but in all actuality, it stems from these roots that are not of God, these origins that are not of God. Right? It's the same thing with Christmas. It's the same thing with Halloween, Thanksgiving. They all come from something, but in today's time, they have been rebranded to fit people of today's society. Back then they might have had an altar that people bow down to and acknowledge the God that they're serving. In today's time, it's more so the altar is still being created, but the bowing down is not physical, it's more spiritual. Just like with us Israelites, we give up spiritual sacrifices. We worship in spirit and in truth. So do the heathen. They worship their gods in spirit and in truth, spiritual obedience. Let me get these precepts, man. Hey, this is the book of Genesis. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. And it reads, Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yes, Salakia. I'm going to read that again. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. Hey, man, subtlety is being cunning, being smooth, being crafty, very strategic, very analytical, being able to analyze a situation and knowing how to manipulate and maneuver through to get to your goal. And that's what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with the deception of Satan, man. Let's go to Revelation 12 and 9. And this is the book of Revelations. It's the book of Revelations, chapter 12, verse 9, and it reads, And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So that's what we're dealing with, man. We're dealing with Satan, who was that great devil who deceived the whole world. Now, this is past tense. Satan has been deceiving the whole world. A lot of the Christian churches waiting on Satan to come and deceive the world as the Antichrist. But this is going on right now with your religion. This is going on right now with your days of observances. You know, Satan's job is to get the believers, the Israelites, to not serve the one true God. Really, we can go with the masses. Satan don't want nobody to serve the Most High God, but the heathen have always served idols. The children of Israel are being dispersed throughout the nations among the heathen in times past, wanting to be like the heathen. He's getting them to serve the idols as well. But now, in a Judeo-Christian society, it has to be painted and has to be rebranded to fit that. It has to hide in plain sight, right? Hey, this is the rebrand, man. And throughout this PowerPoint, we're gonna go backwards a little bit. I'm gonna start with the rebrand, and then we're gonna go to the original. Man, you see it, man. And as you Thanksgiving is nothing but a pagan harvest festival celebration, fall celebration, autumn celebrate, whatever you want to call it, fall, autumn. That's what it is. For millenniums, the heathen have observed this. Every culture has observed this, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. Today you have the gathering of the family, bringing out the turkey. Man, this turkey, like, he got olive pits around. You know, that's an Edomite turkey there, man. And they probably based it with mayonnaise too, man. You know how the heathen get down. That's the turkey of a heathen, man. You can see it. I don't know if those are oranges, the avocados, the olives, tomatoes, trying to like garnish the. Hey, that's the turkey of a heathen. But then our people try to get down. Our turkeys look better, but they try to get down like the heathen, man. But you know, you got the simple stuff. You decorate the house in these fall colors, man. The orange and the brown and the red as the leaves change, and all of this is symbolic. You got the cornucopia with the fruit inside it. All of this is symbolic, man. The cornucopia or the horn with the fruit represent abundance and surplus. Giving thanks is symbolism to the God for thanks for the harvest, for the plentiful harvest that was gathered before winter. Right then, you know, we got the story of the pilgrims and the Indians and whatnot. You know, that's the story that America likes to portray for Thanksgiving. Okay, this first link. All right, man. This is the story that's always been given. This is the story that's been given to us from the time we were in grade school. It says Thanksgiving Day is a national holiday in the United States, and in 2024 falls on Thursday, November 28th. In 1621, the Plymouth colonists from England and the Native American Wampanoag people shared an autumn harvest feast that is acknowledged as one of the first Thanksgiving celebrations in the colony. See, and listen, man, we're dealing with a cunning and a crafty entity here, man. You know what I'm saying? Satan is a spirit. Satan is a spirit that dwells in a vessel. That vessel just so happens to be these Edomites. And even in the wordplay, it says it says that this harvest, an autumn harvest feast. You know, just the ignorant American citizen just looks at that. Oh, it's in the autumn. It's a feast. It's a feast we have in the autumn. But this is important, right? Autumn harvest feast. It's important. This people think Thanksgiving is separate. It's separate from everything else. But that right there shows that this feast is grouped together with all the other things, all the other nations that have harvest feast. Everybody literally has a harvest feast. It said, but this is the first one that's acknowledged in the colonies. In the colonies. Context in the colonies, not just in the world or on this side, in the colonies. They did this stuff, the pilgrims did this stuff before they got here. It wasn't just something that came up just because the Indians and the pilgrims got together, as they say. Salaki. It says for more than 2 centuries, days of Thanksgiving were celebrated by individual colonies and states. It wasn't until 1863, in the midst of the Civil War, that President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed a National Thanksgiving Day to be held each November. Now, he did this. Now, he did this in trying to cater to the people, trying to bring two sides together on something that the Native Americans and the colonizers could have in common, to bring them together. Throughout history, leaders tend to do things like this to control the masses and manipulate the emotions of the people and cause peace. Religions are created to do this. Treaties are created to do this. And it's not always from the most genuine of intentions, right? It says, but the holiday is not without controversy. Many Americans, including people of Native American ancestry, believe Thanksgiving celebrations mask the true history of oppression and bloodshed that underlies the relationship between European settlers and Native Americans. Now, they have to put this in there because it is a lot of controversy. Salaki, give me 1 second. All right, Salaki. All right, maybe this will help. So, going back to that article. So yeah, this has to be done because it's controversy. We're not ignorant. They're not ignorant of that. And in today's time, people are so sensitive. You have to throw that in there. But let's see the picture they're going to paint. Now I'm going to go down a little bit. I'm gonna go down a little bit. Right here, the first Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's cool. Whatever. In November 1621, after the Pilgrims' first corn harvest, proved successful, Governor William Bradford organized a celebratory feast and invited a group of fledgling colonies' Native American allies, including Wampanoag chief Massasoit. So this is their story, right? they're so this is the pilgrims, their harvest was a success, so now they want to have a feast. This is common. This is not this is not a freestyle. This is not off the dome. This was natural to them, having a feast after the harvest. And they have been doing this for, bro, since the since people were on the earth. People are and especially in these ancient times, and this is not even ancient, but in antiquity and ancient times, people lived off the agriculture. They celebrated successful harvest. They had a harvest feast. We will get into that. But let's say they invited the natives, and it says it's now remembered as America's first Thanksgiving. Although the pilgrims themselves may not have used this term at the time. The festival lasted for 3 days. While no record exists of the first Thanksgiving, well, that don't matter, but this is what we've been told. That's what they say. All right, let's go back to the slide. So even though the controversy wasn't addressed, it was just said that many people have felt like Thanksgiving is oppressive and has a dark history, which they're not going to bring up. They're just going to say a broad statement like that. In what way was it oppressive? In what way, give two sides, but they'll never give two sides. Stick to the script, what they've always said. So let's stick to the rebranding. All right, let's go back to the slideshow. Like this precept. It is the book of Zechariah, chapter 8, and verse 16. And it says, "These are the things that ye shall do. Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor. Execute judgment of truth and peace in your gates." So, man, that's what I'm aiming to do. I recall the story that we've been told, that we've all heard. Now let's get to some truth, man. The story that needs to be appropriated. Let's see. She said celebrating a people that took from the Native Americans, that took from the Indians, that appropriated their sayings, their dress, their way of life. It's kind of mockery, really. But just took everything from them. Right. This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 5. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? if the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? Man, we dealing with a people, and this is a judgment on Edom. This is talking about the nation of Edom, and that's the people that runs the world, basically. Those pilgrims that were Edomites. Says, will they not have left grapes? These people are thieves, and they leave nothing. But there's some great perspectives that's being brought out, man. Hey, they do the same thing with movies, man. They say based on a true story. And what they do is they take different segments of the story or what actually happened, and to make the movie more exciting, they add, they take away, they replace, they cut, they put their own idea. So in all, it could be like 5% of the whole movie could be events that actually happen, right? The rest of it, as long as it has a little truth, it says to be based on a true story. They fill in the gaps. So she's right. And the way that we've been told about Thanksgiving is not that. That's just how they just want to base it on events, but not being accurate with the events that happen. Well said, man. And the article that I read first was of the History Channel. They're not gonna put that in there. It's not no. All right. Okay, let's check out this blog. So that's it's really going into that video was going into just a point of view from Native American herself. She claims, but as we progress, we're going to get further into Thanksgiving itself and dissecting what we've been told from what people actually say. And man, look, check out all these articles. You can go and read the whole thing. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Honestly, if my voice allowed, I would, if we had the time, I would get more meat, but I'm posting it here. I'll definitely check them out. It says, although many Potawatomi and others across the United States celebrate Thanksgiving, the factual history behind the holiday is something to be less than thankful for. While communing with the loved ones and showing appreciation for the bounties and gifts provided is one positive aspect of the national holiday, teaching a false narrative of its beginnings, per- perpetuates colonialism and ignores more than 400 years of atrocities committed against Native Americans and First Nations people. All right, let's look at this paragraph here. While Thanksgiving celebrated today may not have complete factual roots, Native Americans, Europeans, and other cultures across the world have held festivals and special meals in gratitude for bountiful harvest and to reflect on the past year. Many across Indian country continue with these traditions by simply sharing a meal with friends and loved ones without referencing it as a true Thanksgiving. So, the point I'm continually making is that people in today society in America think that Thanksgiving has no ties to paganism. We're told the story of Thanksgiving as a meal that Thanksgiving originated as a meal that was shared among colonial colonists and Native Americans, and that created this special meal that we have about having thanks for this and being thankful for that. When the first article said the Pilgrims wouldn't have called it Thanksgiving, probably called it something else, and this article is telling you that other cultures across the world have held festivals and special meals in gratitude for bountiful harvest. Every all of these scholars, all the authors of these articles understand that Thanksgiving is just a harvest festival. It's a festival for the harvest that originated somewhere. Let's keep reading. A lot of people don't acknowledge it as Thanksgiving. They say I'm going to get together with family, so far and so on and so forth. But that's what it is, man. Keep reading down. You know, this is a story about Squanto. It talks about what I thought was interesting, man. Just a little sidebar that before the Mayflower arrived, man, they were in North America capturing Native Americans from their tribes and selling them into slavery. All right, that's what I want right here. It says the Pilgrims celebrated their successful harvest in 1621 by shooting their guns into the air, which caused Massasoit to bring together warriors and prepare for battle. Instead of fighting, the Wampanoag and Pilgrims worked together to prepare a feast. Now, there are many, just like the first article said, there's controversy. There are many stories about what's shared about. There are many stories shared about, the accuracies of what happened with that first Thanksgiving in 1621. Sources say that, well, the the natives weren't ever invited. They only came because they heard shooting. Probably Esau, man, out there getting wild. out there getting drunk, man. Probably raising up praises to their gods, their harvest gods. Just as many of them. Probably slapping pigs on the ass, man. Slapping Mary Beth around, getting wild, man. Drinking, shooting them Russian revolvers in the air, spreading disease through the land, doing what they do best, man. And so they just end up sitting down and eating. That's what this is, right? In an article published by Indian Country Today in 2011, Thanksgiving is a time of grief for Native Americans. Many natives continue to gather at Coles Hill near Plymouth Rock and remember the losses experienced for the past 400 years, man. Because, man, we don't, we, as a so-called Black man, we look at the slave trade and we examine that history thoroughly. But, man, it's a lot of atrocities that have happened to our Native American brothers that we kind of overlook. They've been through a lot, man. The same as we have been through a lot. Okay, let's look at some more. All right. Truth giving, the true history of Thanksgiving. All right. We're gonna get straight to the point. What's the real story of Thanksgiving? The Pilgrims had hardly explored the shores of Cape Cod for 4 days before they had robbed the graves of my ancestors, stolen their corn and beans. And this is what the lady in the video was saying, that we're celebrating a day when these people had robbed the graves. Man, that's sick as hell. You know how damn bad you got to be to rob a grave. So I don't doubt that, man. The natives really helped these people out when they should have just put them to death off the boat. Wampanoag activists and organizer National Day of Mourning. The first Thanksgiving is as a lot of folks understand it, it was in 1621 between the Pilgrims of Plymouth Colony and the Wampanoag tribe in present-day Massachusetts. While records indicate that this celebration did happen, there are a few misconceptions we need to clear up because of the erasure. In other words, removal and exclusion of Native American narratives from the histories. A lot of and they want to paint their narrative. No, they're doing the same thing with slavery today. They don't want to have it in the history books. They're trying to erase it because it sheds this country in a certain light, so that the future people of today, the future people, citizens of America, will look at this history and change the course of direction for the country. They don't want to be looked at negative. They don't want nobody to be able to point the finger and say, look at your atrocities. So the same thing that they painted the narrative, they're trying to paint it with slavery. They did it with the Native Americans in Thanksgiving. I believe that, man. That's real. It says a lot of us were taught. We've been left with an incomplete picture of what really happened. So here's the full story. There's no evidence that the Wampanoag people were invited in the first place. An account from the time said 90 members of the Wampanoag tribe were present and makes no mention of invitations. Some experts believe that these 90 men were an army sent by Wampanoag leader Asamoah at the sound of gunshots, which turns out to be a part of the celebration. Esau again, wow, a beast of the field. In their first encounter, the Wampanoag people, the Pilgrims, stole from the tribe's winter provisions. It wasn't until later that Asamoah formed an alliance between the groups. Even then, the alliance really only existed because the Wampanoag people were ravaged by disease brought by European colonizers in the years prior. It was less about intercultural harmony and more about survival. And that's what they try to make Thanksgiving to be about this harmony between cultures. Next bullet, that first harvest was followed by deadly conflicts between colonizers and native people, including, but definitely not limited to, the Wampanoags. The Europeans repaid their native allies by seizing native land and imprisoning, enslaving, and executing native people. I've also read that the harvest feast following Thanksgiving were to add to the celebration that the Europeans would raid these villages of the Native Americans. They would steal from them, do all kind of stuff, and then go back to the set and have a party to add to the harvest celebration. Following Thanksgiving, celebrations by European settlers often marked brutal victories over native people, right? Just like I was saying, like the Pequot Massacre of 1636 or the beheading of Wampanoag leader Metacon in 1676. Scroll down to see if there's any more that I want. I ain't gonna lie, but they look, hey, if these supposed to be natives, they look like Jake right there, man. He got a whole fro, man. Stop playing. I think that's all I want on that. Okay, so we seeing, just like we seeing the controversy. So you gotta have two sides to the story. You can't have one. That's an unjust balance. So as we see this mention of harvest festivals or harvest celebrations, even in the story of Thanksgiving, so what the hell is it then? So what is it? It's a harvest festival. That's what it is. Now let's go to, this is an article, Ancient Egyptian Harvest Festivals, a Time of Abundance. The ancient civilization of Egypt is renowned for its remarkable achievements in various fields, including agriculture. Because I mentioned earlier that these civilizations and these societies relied on agriculture. That's where you get most of the celebrations and these holidays that people observe in the United States and throughout the world are agricultural. They're based upon the seasons, right? In the springtime, you have Easter. Easter had nothing to do with the resurrection of Christ. Easter was always celebrated throughout history by multiple civilizations. They just might not have called it Easter. You know what I'm saying? The fertile land along the Nile River allowed Egyptians to cultivate a valley of crops. So this is that's all it is. This is going into agriculture. This article aims to delve into the significance of harvest festivals in ancient Egypt. There's that word again, harvest festival. I think by now it's clear that Thanksgiving is a harvest festival. It's just that you don't think that Thanksgiving is a harvest festival to some pagan god or some deity. The agricultural calendar of ancient Egypt was intricately linked to the annual cycles of the Nile River. Right. Let's keep going. All right. Major harvest festivals in ancient Egypt. The Wepet Rempet festival, meaning the opening of the year in the spring, marked the start of the agricultural year and was a significant event in Egyptian calendar. See, now we have it where the beginning of the year is in the winter. Even your Christmases is based off equinox and solstices. Thanksgiving is based off an equinox and a harvest. Easter is based off equinoxes and solstices. I think that you have the spring and the fall, equinox in the winter and the summer solstice. Festivals were dedicated to Osiris, the god of fertility and agriculture. It involved rituals that honored Osiris and ensured his blessing for the coming agricultural season. During the Wepet Rempet festival, the people made offerings of food, wine, and incense to the deities. Processions and ceremonies were common, showcasing the community's reverence for their god and the natural world. All right, let's see this. See, look at these characters, because you always, to know what something is and what it's related to, you have to find the common characteristics. During harvest festivals, offerings were made to both Osiris and his sister wife Isis. These deities represented the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, and were honored for their roles in agriculture and fertility. Celebrations including lively music and dance, creating a festive. Let's knock it down one by one. Lively music and dance. You know, I'm just recalling my Thanksgiving history and my experiences. We didn't do too much dancing, but it was definitely some music going on in the background, creating a festive atmosphere that goes with your cornucopia on the table, your harvest colors, your yellows, your oranges, your browns, your reds, pumpkins, you know what I'm saying? Squash, all that type stuff. Large banquets were held, look, in the Bible, which we're about to go into, the Lord has his own harvest festival. God has a harvest festival. It's called First Fruits. It's in the summer. And he has the ingathering or tabernacles in the fall. Those are his harvest festivals. And they're feast days. That word for feast in the Hebrew means a gathering. The Most High God told you to gather together, have large banquets. I'm gonna hurt your feelings in a minute about that. It says where people gather to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Right, and that's what when you have a Thanksgiving, that's what you're doing. It's a lot of food. Because you're doing, you're giving thanks. You're giving thanks, right? Who are you giving thanks to? Man, let me get a quick point, man. Let me see if I can find this precept, man. Let's see if I can find this precept. Oh yeah. There's the book of Exodus, chapter 32. And this is about the golden calf that the Israelites made in the wilderness. Let me see where I want to start at. Okay. Now we know that in Exodus 20, the Lord said, make no graven image, to bow down to it, to worship it, is not of the Lord. It's a false God. Every Christian, Bible believing scholar, atheist, no matter who they are, they're going to say that this golden calf is not of God. It's not of the Lord. It does not represent the Lord or any of that. Let's see what the wicked Israelites say about this golden calf. I'm going to start at verse 3. And all the people break off the golden earrings which were in their ears and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, This be thy God, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. Okay. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a feast to the Lord. He didn't say tomorrow is a feast to the gods. No, he said tomorrow is a feast to the Lord. But they just made a golden calf. How are you going to have idolatry and then try to stamp the Lord's name? That's what people do with Thanksgiving. The Lord never said, hey, worship me by making a golden calf and then proclaiming a feast and having a celebration to this golden calf and say it's in my name. The Lord never said, hey, have a harvest festival and decorate it like this, have a large banquet, and then have it on the last Thursday of November or whenever you choose to have it, and then stamp my name on it. Not knowing that you're actually celebrating something outside of God. All right. Harvest festivals served as a crucial opportunity for community bonding. They reinforced social ties and provided a platform for people to come together in unity and gratitude. Ain't that sounds like Thanksgiving to me? But this is to Osiris and Isis. So what's the difference? What's the difference between what you're doing and what they did? Oh, yours is not to Osiris and Isis. Well, whose is it for? It ain't for the Lord. We're gonna read when the Lord said, have a feast day, have a harvest day, have a day that you. Come on, man, it's crazy, man. All right, let's progress. Harvest home. Let's look at this in particular. See, look, man, they already starting off with wickedness. Exodus 34 and 22. And thou shalt observe the feast of the first fruits of wheat harvest. This is crazy. See, they take that, and you know what those dots mean? Those dots mean there's other words as a part of this verse that goes with this passage, that goes with the context. But they clip it and they misappropriate it. All right. It's safe to say that in years Salaki. It's safe to say that in years gone by, every Lutheran and Reformed church in Pennsylvania, as well as most Mennonite, so the Lutherans and the Reformed church is talking about the Protestants, which most of the churches in America are Protestant. You hold to the 66 books in the Bible, you're Protestant. But it says most Mennonite meeting houses celebrated the gathering end of harvest with a special harvest home service. This day is most of these congregations hold a Sunday service commemorating the harvest. This event is in the liturgical year, seems to be mainly praised by Germanic Protestants. Okay, now that's what they say. I'm gonna scroll down some. It says the harvest festival's origin is lost in the depths of time, but researchers find it to be a survivor of pagan rituals. Thanksgiving is nothing but a harvest festival. It's a harvest festival, a survivor of pagan rituals. Who brought that to America? The Pilgrims. They made the harvest festival survive. They revived it when they got here. Roman historians make note of harvest festivals. Throughout the European history, the conclusion of the exhausting labor of grain harvest, coupled with the safe storage of the season's crop, was cause for celebration and thanksgiving. This term, harvest home, comes from the British Isles, where ancient Celtic and Saxon rituals of harvest frolics, harvest dances, and harvest suppers celebrated the ending of the grain harvest. This was a merry time when, for example, the last grain sheaf became the corn baby and was dressed as a maiden and paraded. Okay, people really don't do that today, but you get what I'm saying, right? The oldest church liturgies, Lutheran and Reformed, from the German Reformation, which is a Protestant Reformation, make note of special services for harvest thanksgiving. So you can't say, oh, he's reading this, but it's talking about harvest home. It's not they're talking about Thanksgiving. It's the same thing. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same thing. Apparently, the custom was brought to Pennsylvania by the 18th century Germanic. Yeah, that specific custom, but the custom of Thanksgiving that we know today, of eating, having a cornucopia on the table filled with fruit, the gathering in the name of the harvest, that's always been around before the 18th century. I just find that it's very disingenuous that he says that the harvest festival's origin is lost in the depths of time. It's not lost. It's always been around. It hasn't been lost. We just read about the ancient Egyptians celebrating harvest. Originally among the Lutheran, Reformed, and Mennonite immigrants, the day of harvest Thanksgiving involved a special church service, usually held during the week, often a Thursday. What the? Come on, man. Hey, you cannot deny. I had a brother tell me on social media that, hey, he was an Israelite too, man. He said, you have no proof that Thanksgiving is a pagan origin. Okay. I'm gonna just get these goofies on, and let's read a little bit, and I want you to be on when I read it, so you can actually acknowledge, because people run on the internet. I'm gonna read that again. The day of harvest, Thanksgiving, involved a special church service, usually held during the week, often a Thursday. When is Thanksgiving? It's on a Thursday. Well, listen, Sa'ar is not. It's not the same. It's just a coincidence. Okay. Hey man, this many coincidences, a nigga will be locked up. This many coincidences to have a nigga indicted. Stop playing. At the close of the small grain harvest, since the ripening order of grain was first rye in early July, followed by wheat, then oats in early August, most harvest home services were held in August. See, look, there you go, man. That's the point. However, they could be any time from early July to mid-October, depending on each congregation's custom. So all this is subject. All this is subject. Now you got to think about the Pilgrims had theirs. So-called Pilgrims had theirs in so-called November. That's what they say, right? I think that's. I would like to see that information, because how America is set up. Spiritually, the harvest to them, since we don't have people that actually grow things anymore, Their harvest is revenue through sales. cash cash crops, cash cows, and bringing in money. That's their harvest. The reaping of of harvest of money. That's their harvest. It says over time the harvest service migrated from a weekday to a regular Sunday service. Throughout the 20th century and before, the custom here was to decorate the front of the sanctuary with the bounty of field and garden as a kind of offering. This the same thing, man. It's the same thing. Many congregations still follow this custom, but usually in a more symbolic way. Hey, didn't Christ say, then how should I say to the woman in was it John 4? Ye know not what ye worship. Y'all don't know what the hell y'all be doing, man. Y'all just be out here doing shit just because your grandmama did it and your auntie do it. That's why people, when you ask, you want to see somebody upset for no reason at all, ask them, why do we celebrate whatever it is that you celebrate? An honest question. It's no guile in that. It's no trickery in that. You're supposed to know. Hey, I feel like that's a question that a lot of people get pissed off about. If you ask them their reasoning behind whatever decision that they do or whatever decision that they made, they get pissed off. You ask a person, what made you choose your spouse? Nigga just start getting upset. Why do you celebrate Christmas? It's the birth of Christ. Well, that's inaccurate. That's not true. Well, I'm a Christian. I worship however I want to worship. You can start getting foaming at the mouth. You're getting hostile. Let me see if there's something I want on this. Listen, look at this. Harvest Home Service must not be confused with the National Thanksgiving Day, the fourth Thursday in November. Thanksgiving Day was instituted by President Lincoln. Then we just read articles before that said that what the Pilgrims did was not Thanksgiving, was not called Thanksgiving, but that's what we say is Thanksgiving. It's crazy, man. We just read an article that said the Pilgrims, we get this celebration from the Pilgrims that didn't call it Thanksgiving. They might have called it something else. It also said that what the Pilgrims were doing was a harvest celebration of grain and crop and the gathering of a successful crop. But the author, see, this is where subtlety lies. Harvest Home is celebrated in times past on a Thursday. It don't matter when, it don't matter what day that you celebrate it on. It's the intent behind the celebration. What is it for? Are you celebrating the harvest or no? Yes, you're celebrating the harvest. Is Harvest Home the exact same thing as Thanksgiving Day? No, it may not be. Was whatever the Egyptians would celebrate, is it the same thing as Thanksgiving Day? No, it's not. When the people in whatever nation or country that you're in that celebrates a harvest festival, is it the exact same thing as Thanksgiving Day? No, it's not. But is it a harvest festival? Yes, it is. It said it was instituted by President Lincoln and came too late in the season to be combined with Harvest Home. Indeed, the Protestant Germans at first ignored Thanksgiving, coming as it did on the cold and shivering edge of winter long after the harvest was over. That's okay. That's what you say. Before the National Thanksgiving Day was instituted by Lincoln, there was, however, a national prayer and Thanksgiving Day, locally known and observed as Bedgar. It was slowly subsumed into Thanksgiving Day, the harvest, whatever, man. Like these people, they be telling you the truth, and then they be trying to backtrack by telling you a lie. And it's the initial this. You're gonna start off by lying. Like this has anything to do with God. A quote by Exodus, I have quote by Exodus 34 and 22. And then throughout, we just went through this article. None of this shows you how um, this has anything to do with God. It even tells you that researchers found it to be a survivor of pagan rituals. But then you have a quote that this you a quote that makes it seem like this has anything to do with God. I don't understand why y'all be playing like this, man. It's cool. It's cool. Now let's look at this feast called Mabon, or this harvest festival called Mabon. Let's look at this. People gonna lie. Now, see, look, she telling you these rituals is this is Mabon. Mabon is a deity that is called the sun or something. Let me see. I'm gonna, I'm gonna look it up right quick. I knew, but I forgot. Let me look it up really quick. I'm looking up on my phone so I don't. Matter of fact, let me pause it. I want y'all to see it. So I ain't so it make it seem like I ain't capping like Robert Wood here. Mabon ap Madron is a prominent figure from the Welsh and wider Brythonic literature and mythology. The son of Madron, that's what it is. The son of Madron, a member of Arthur's war band. Both he and his mother were likely deities in origin, descending from a divine mother son pair. Hey, man, one thing that you notice throughout history is it repeats itself, right? Um, every culture shares some type of these cultures and these civilizations are not original. They don't come up with their own. They borrow. It says this deity was a part of a divine mother son pair. Um, you have Ishtar and Tammuz, a mother son pair. You have Isis and Horus, a mother son pair. You have the Virgin Mary and Jesus, a mother son pair. It's the same thing, bro. It's the same thing. It's crazy. So Mabon is a deity. That's why there are rituals attached to the deity. She might not say that out front and blatant, but these people be knowing that they know they don't serve the Most High God. They know what they be doing. It's Western society that blankets and sugarcoats all this stuff. Hold on, say what? Listen, so she know it has pagan roots, but why should she characterizes it with Thanksgiving? A Mammon feast or a Thanksgiving dinner. Is Thanksgiving the same thing as Mammon? It could be. That could be the deity that's being worshipped during Thanksgiving. It could be. It could well be. Um, America sugarcoat stuff, and it hides the meanings. It's spiritual, man. Satan is very cunning. Um, this place is Babylon the Great, which means confusion. It's a confusing place because a lot of this stuff is spiritual. But she said it's a Thanksgiving feast. They call it a Thanksgiving feast. Oh, that's basil. That's great. But yeah, I'm trying to, let me see. I'm gonna fast forward. Oh, she, you're not gonna watch this whole video, man. Can't. Man, like something like this. This is this is a similarity with Christmas. Why there are lights during Christmas? Why you put lights on the tree? Why is lights around your house? Because she about to go into it about the the days being short and the nights being long and it being dark and it being cold. The lights represented kind of like the bringing back of that heat, that warmth, that sun, that day. It's very similar to Thanksgiving dinner. Now, throughout, if you go, you can go back and watch it yourself. She keeps saying it over and over again. It's the same thing as Thanksgiving. Freak ass Edomite, man. Now, now the article before said that Thanksgiving is too far past the harvest to have anything to do with like harvest home but Mavan is a harvest festival and yet she's talking about the cold of the months and how to in the transitioning. How about that? Oh, hey man, these folks be knowing that they pagan. It's these Americans that think they serving God. It's crazy. Depending on where you are in the world, you have a similar celebration. Say what? If you're what? Just play it back. went back too far. Oh man, it's crazy, man. You can't make this up, man. You can't make this up, man. I ain't make it up. It wasn't me. I ain't make this up. I'm just not lazy, and I care about what it. Let me go back. Let me get that precept in Zechariah. This is what the Lord said, do, man. Y'all out here playing games, just doing something that's traditional because you've always done it and your grandma always did it, and then some y'all grew up doing it and nobody never knew why they did it. You just did it just to be doing it. Foolish ass people. Damn, I need to go back and look at that precept. That precept was too hard. Zechariah 8 and 16. Okay, I thought it was 8 and 17. 8 and 16. It says, these are the things that ye shall do. Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor. That's what I'm doing. I'm speaking the truth to my neighbor. Execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gates. I'm bringing peace to you by giving you the truth. And they say the truth shall set you free. And hey, it's a lot of people that's going to watch this video that's not Israelites, that's not of that faith, but is going to call themselves Christians. And they're purposefully in their pride are not going to be set free by this truth that I'm showing. Every culture under the sun has or had a fall festival or harvest celebration. Is Thanksgiving against God? Hey man, we just had a lady, just a witness. This video is a witness against you. That's what it is. She said it's pagan. Mavon is pagan, and then wherever you are, you're celebrating something that's very similar and is pagan. The Lord said, "Thou shalt not have no other gods before me." Having a god before a god means a power or authority. Power and authority. That's what the word God means. When you have a god or gods before the Most High God, that means that you have an entity, a principle, an ideology, a theology, a philosophy, a belief, something those things are spiritual, right? Because back then you had gods that were spiritual, but people worshiped them much more physical, right? But this is something that's giving you the authority and the power or the motivation that does giving you the power and authority to be contrary to the Most High God. For example, the Most High God said that you shall not eat pork. The swine shall not be consumed as unclean, as filthy. It's unclean to you. Now, what authority and power is given to the people on the earth that claim they serve God? What authority is given to them that makes it okay for them to consume pork? That's putting a God before the Most High God. It could have been a pastor that a pastor has power. He has power over his congregation because he has a breakdown of the scripture and they listen. He could misinterpret the text that's giving you the authority. Isaiah 66 and 17 on down says that those that sanctify themselves behind the tree in the midst. A tree is like a doctrine. You're sanctifying yourself behind a doctrine. It means you're making it okay. This doctrine is giving you the authority to do it. It says eating swine's flesh. Okay, I painted a clear picture. Okay, let's move on. It says, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. To bow down It's not just getting on your knees and praying and putting your face to the ground. The Lord said in the Psalms, I believe it's in the Psalms, to bow down the knee of thine heart. To bow down means to be subject to. It means to what's the word I'm looking for? It means to obey. It means to submit. You're submitting yourself to them and you're serving them. Now, how are you submitting yourself? Well, there's a holiday that was instituted by Abraham Lincoln that the Pilgrims brought over here from wherever they look. Imagine this. Imagine you're an American. You've been an American all your life. You lived here all your life. And for 6 generations, you celebrated Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter or whatever. And let's say you moved to Iran, where they don't celebrate Christmas. Do you think just because you get to Iran, you're going to stop celebrating Christmas? You've been doing it all your life. I think them pilgrims who are from Europe, have celebrated European customs, are going to come to New England. They didn't even think to change the damn name. We're going to just name it after where we can. It's New England, nigga. Ain't going to create something new. They were always pagans, and they've always done that, and it's a reflection. You bowed yourself down to their ideology, to their traditions, and you serve them by decorating your home after their manner and how they do, and creating an altar that you decorated with a cornucopia and a pumpkin and squash to commemorate the harvest, just like they did. It says, for the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me. And you did this contrary to God. You did this contrary to what he said to do. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 15. I'm going to start at verse 3. But he answered and said unto them, why do you also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition? And this is a question to my Christian brothers and sisters and family members. Why do you transgress the commandment of God by your traditions? Which is the traditions that you have borrowed from people who have never been known to serve God or were never called by God. But you yourself are proclaiming to say you serve God and are called by God. Let's see. The Most High has his own harvest festival. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 23. In verse 14, it says, 3 times thou shalt keep a feast or a gathering unto me in the year. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days as I commanded thee in the time appointed of the month of Bib. For in it thou camest out of Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. The month of Bib is in the spring. Just like every other culture has. See, the Most High, when he took us out of Egypt, he gave us things to compete. It compete in our mind because there's no competition with the Most High. But it's for our pagan relatives. He's not gonna just like this year, we're celebrating Hanukkah now, but it's during the time of Thanksgiving. You see how some brothers is going to be during the time of Christmas. See how the Most High gives you something to, which one you gonna do. It ain't like you ain't had nothing to do. It says, thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread, which is in the spring, right? And the feast of harvest, the first fruits of thy labors, which thou hast sown in the field, and in the feast of ingathering, which is another harvest. which is in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered in the labors of the field. All right, this is what I want to go do. Let's go to the blue letter. Let's go to the book of Leviticus. All right, let's go down because we want the Feast of Ingathering, which is in the end of the year. All right. Verse 39. Oh, all right, that's what I want. Speaking, verse 34. Speaking to the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of the 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days of the Lord. Now, the 15th day of the 7th month, which is ironic that the 7th Hebrew month falls around September, which that prefix sept means 7, right? It falls between September and October, when majority of people harvest things, right? You shall do no servile work. It says on the first day shall be a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work. It says 7 days you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly, and you shall do no work therein. Let's skip down verse 39. And also on the 15th day of the 7th month, same thing. When you have gathered in the fruit of the land, the harvest, you shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. This is the Lord's harvest festival. But then they say, well, that's an old covenant. We're in the new covenant now. That's, hey, we don't do that. Oh, but so that's your excuse. That's you sanctifying and your excuse for paganism. Let's see. Say that's in the new covenant. No, this is what I want. I want all right, this is the book of Zechariah. 14. And I started verse I started 16. Now this is prophecy in the new kingdom and new earth, in the new covenant. You can go back and read the chapter. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem. Now, when will the nations come against Jerusalem? In the latter days. This is after that. This is after the end time. It says, shall even go up from year to year to worship the king. Now, when will all the nations, and this is, I'm not lying. When will all the nations go up to worship the king in the new kingdom? It says the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Wait, we just read that in Leviticus 23. I thought the Feast of Tabernacles was just, it was in the old covenant. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. So the Lord is going to curse the nations that don't come up to keep tabernacles. Now we're reading confirmation that keeping the Feast of Tabernacles is worshiping the King, the Lord of hosts. But no, you don't keep the Lord's harvest festival. You keep Thanksgiving. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague, wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Let the church say amen. Let the church say amen. All right. Continue. This is 1 John 2:15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Taking your time off, which is given, which we know that this society does not worship God whatsoever. So they give you time off to have this feast day. You say that's not this to celebrate Thanksgiving. That's not suspicious. It's not. You took the time out on this day off to call up your whole family catalog. You and all of your friends and family, um, y'all categorized food. You guys executed a great plan to keep Thanksgiving. You coordinated decorations. You put the straw man out in your front yard. You put the pumpkins out there. You put the flag, the Happy Thanksgiving on you. You got your Christmas lights up too. They're already up. They were up after Halloween. You put them up. Your house is beautifully decorated. The cornucopia, the colors, you spent $500 on turkey, dressing, sweet potatoes, green beans, desserts, and casseroles. You put on your best clothes. Do you get what you see what I'm getting at with this, with the serving? You're giving much serving. You're serving a lot of face. You're serving it. You bow down willingly. You gave it up. Spiritual fornication is best. You gave it up. I'm talking about back getting beat. You gave it up, man. Thanksgiving is of the world. Who created Thanksgiving? It wasn't God. It was man. Men of the world. Men of the flesh. And you love Thanksgiving so much that even hearing all this information today, you still will not turn and keep God's feast day and holy day that he said is going to be kept even in the new covenant and kingdom. You know why? Because the love of the Father is not in you. And the love of the Father, according to First John, the next chapter, 1 John 5:3, is keeping the commandments. 2 John 1:6, keeping the commandments is the love of God. John 17:16-17. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. So those that are sanctified through the word are the true worshipers that are keeping tabernacles, the Lord's harvest festival, that are keeping first fruits, another harvest festival in the summer, keeping Passover in the spring, that are keeping the commandments in general. Romans 7:14. For we know that the law is spiritual. Hey, tabernacle was ordained in the law. It's a law to keep it. That law is spiritual because spiritually you're worshiping God, just like in Zechariah 14. Worshiping the king, they were keeping tabernacles. But no, you don't do that. You keep Thanksgiving. You are this up here. That's you're a lover of the world. Hey man, I think I done said all what need to be said, man. It's crazy out here in the world. All kind of wickedness and all kind of confusion, man. People are confused, man. Hella confused, man. But yo, I hope that my voice wasn't much of a distraction. All through the power and the spirit of Yahweh. I did not sound like this yesterday. I sounded worse. I was whispering. Like this to my wife yesterday. So the Lord knew I put this lesson together. I wanted to get it out. He gave me the voice to be able to give it out and edify the people. All praises to the Most High God, man. Stop being so damn wicked and evil, man. Repent of your sins. The times are short, man. Hey, shalom.